you things about this game rather than guess things about this game. But you can think of me more as kind of like a host for this run, more so than your everyday experienced commentator. We'll see how this goes. We're going to be doing the 104% category, so we're going to be collecting all the items in the game. We've got a Donkey Kong Country style situation here where all of the pickups add 1%, and unless you have 100 pickups, then you're not going to end up with 100%. So they added in some missile expansions to replace the map stations, and instead just give you the maps up front. So that ends up being an extra 4 missiles. So we're off. We're starting with Sarah Station. One thing you'll notice, Super Metroid Project Base looks an awful lot like Super Metroid in a lot of ways. The overall structure of all the levels, several individual rooms, and of course, Sarah Station to start things off here. All very, very similar. But the game is different enough that if you are a super experienced Super Metroid player and you play this one, it's going to feel really weird. There's a lot of little changes they made to the mechanics that actually make for a big difference when you actually play it. We start off with Ridley takes off with the Metroid, but I don't think, there's not really an explosion. It counts down. There's a timer. It is going to blow up. You'll just have to take its word for it, though, because otherwise everything is fine. It's just kind of blue. Another thing you have to know about this game and ROM hacks in general is that they're modern video games and such. They're subject to the same sort of development practices that go on with a lot of modern games, and that can mean patches. That can mean different versions. So we're playing on 0.73, I think. And some significant changes have been made, actually, over the course of a couple patches. And I know the video I watched to study in the hour leading up to this was a different version, so there will probably be a couple things that are a little different, but we can talk about them as we go. That's Sarah's Station done now. For Hubert, about to touch down on the planet. The beginning of this is going to follow a lot of the similar things as the Super Metroid run. You know, the missiles, the bombs, the morph ball, all kind of standard fare. You'll probably notice some of the color palettes are a little different. And I think, that is a moonfall there. This was discovered in Super Metroid. I want to say recently, but I bet it's not been all that recently. I bet it's like a year or two old now, but with a certain control scheme, Samus can walk backwards, and you can actually walk backwards off of a ledge in a weird way to get some increasing downwards acceleration that exceeds your typical maximum velocity. So you get a really nice fast fall there. Missiles already obtained, and you can tell that this game just moves a lot faster than the original game. Even the item pickups are already gone. You can see there we don't have to damage boost to get that ridiculous lurching motion that Samus just launches off into. There is a backflip in this game, and it does actually give you some pretty good options moving through a lot of rooms. Pretty quickly into the run we get the speed booster because it's so awesome, but until that and a couple times afterwards, I think there are some places where this backflip actually is the best way to move through these rooms. Another thing, if you're a Super Metroid veteran, but you probably, if you're not, you probably haven't noticed, is that you keep your speed when your running speed. You don't lose it when you land from a jump. You get to just kind of keep going, and that alone creates a hugely different flow to this game rather than the original Super Metroid. You would want to minimize a lot of jumps in Super Metroids to keep your running speed for as long as possible, but you don't have that restriction in this game. You can throw in little jumps all over the place. We still have a lot of the same glitches. We saw the mock ball just there for a little bit. As you touch the ground, you morph into the morph ball and you will keep your full running speed. We also saw a new glitch in this game, and we're going to see another one right there. If you're familiar with the game, you should know that there was a boss fight there, but by simply backflipping out of the room immediately after picking up the bombs, you totally skipped the fight. pretty awesome and really cool to see. I know Hubert doesn't quite get that trick 100%. It's pretty easy, all things considered. You could probably do it yourself if you gave it a shot, but it can still get you sometimes, and it's pretty humiliating when you don't get it. So pretty good for Hubert there. Doing a nice turnaround damage boost off of the enemy. I don't know the enemy names in Super Metroid. I know some of them. Ripper is one. Maybe I'll spot another. There's a Ripper. Actually, that's the different one, isn't it? That's the rocket one. It has a different name. I got the first enemy wrong. All right. Anyway, we're going to be picking up a couple items now that we got our Morph Ball, Bomb, and Missiles. This room is totally different compared to the original game. If you know Super Metroid and you just walked in and saw this, you might be very confused. But it's honestly pretty rare that a room gets kind of totally redesigned in this ROM hack. A lot of things will seem very similar if you know the original game. Not quite getting the mock ball there that's necessary to get past these gates, but the same glitch does work in this game. And it is incredibly useful to get some of these items without the speed booster. Speed booster is not too far away. We'll be picking it up in about 8 minutes or so, but we can get a lot of items here early. And it makes a big difference because one of those items is super missiles, actually, up here. And that's going to continue to let us keep sequence breaking. Want to double back and grab these missiles first, because we are doing the 104% category. So we need to get all these things. These missiles might be a little bit useful. All right, there's another glitch there. I forgot to talk about the fast falling the moonfall is definitely fast falling, but you can also morph and unmorph repeatedly to fall just a little bit faster. It's kind of like arm pumping, actually, which is another thing that I haven't talked about, but by spamming your arm cannons up and down with your aim diagonal buttons, you can get you can move Samus a pixel, I think it is, each time. So picking up pixels here and there all throughout the run by mashing this button, it can actually add up to a full couple seconds over the course of a run. So once you really start to get optimized in Metroid, that is something you want to start adding. We picked up the power bombs there. That's a pretty useful thing to have to get the power bombs early, and we are gonna get the real power bombs, not too late, but this does improve the routing a little bit to get them this early. So rapid sequence breaks happening. Moving on to the big pink. And this version actually is pink. In the version I was watching, actually this and a lot of other colors were totally wrong. So it's nice to see the big pink has its namesake. Nice moonfalls there from Hubert. He's been moving really well through this game. And so you might know, like, yeah, of course, charge beams underneath that thing, but like the way that thing crumbles, the crumble blocks that you can run straight through them rather than having to morph ball around inside it is different from the original game. So the overall structure of the room, incredibly similar, but there's all these weird little differences that can just feel weird if you are very familiar with the original game. Charge beam, pretty good stuff. Charges a little faster than the base game, and it also does something pretty cool that as a sort of quality of life changes, that it will actually pull in drops. You can kind of magnetize them in, which is something other Metroid games have done. Another thing that another Metroid game has done, that this game also does, is respin. In Super Metroid, if you've played, say, Metroid Fusion or Zero Mission, and you got used to those controls, and then you went back to this game, especially if you were trying to do wall jumps in this game. By the way, Spazer picked up, gonna widen our beam a little bit. You would probably struggle with wall jumps anytime you broke out of your spin animation, because you cannot re-spin in the air in Super Metroid. You would have to land, do a jump with spin, and then that will let you start wall jumping again. But this game has that respin mechanic as well, so a pretty nice quality of life change. There goes Kraid. Kraid's beaten. We already did it. We beat him. Pretty good. Weird that there's no item for beating him behind him, but it is a ROM hack, so not everything is weird. Oh, there was another one. Wait, okay, that's the real. No, he's dead too. All right. Moving on to the Kraid fight. Kraid is first. We're going to be following a pretty traditional route here. Kraid does have a quick kill, if you're familiar with Super Metroid, there is the crit quick kill. This one's a little different. We're not going to completely prevent him from moving on to a second phase, but we're going to get up there and give it to him here. Wall jump, and 1, 2, 3. Got him. Nicely done by Hubert. Pulling in all those drops with that charge beam, and we pick up the Varia suit. I think the next order of business is heading towards Speed Booster. I don't think it's going to be the next major thing. I think we might get high jump boots before then. Nope, I'm wrong. We're already here. One thing that's different about this game that I think was put in with an eye towards speedrunning, I think, but it could just be a desire to have a more open, connected world. But there's a lot of gates and stuff in Super Metroid that would prevent you from going a certain way into an area. It would be the the exit rather than the entrance. And a lot of those are just straight up removed in this game. So a lot of back doors we're going to be able to take into areas, and it usually ends up being the faster route. We've got our Speed Booster now. Speed Booster is very different in this game. First off, has a shorter charge time, so you can charge it up very quickly, especially if you do a short charge. That's something you can do in Super Metroid by the game's looking for your directional inputs only every couple of frames, I believe is how this works. So as long as the button is pressed on those frames, it'll think that you're running and will try to build a charge. So if you just tap the D-pad with a certain rhythm, you can trick the game into thinking that you're running when you're not. You're just tapping it. So you can build up a Speed Booster charge over a shorter distance. Combined with the shorter distance change in this game means that you can get some really short distances to charge up. You're like right there, bam, got it, launching off into the sun on that diagonal. Pretty cool to see. Speed Booster also incorporates the really, really fun Speed Booster mechanics from Fusion and Zero Mission, where if you hit a slope, you will recharge your Speed Booster, and ducking it, carrying it with the charge, and then finding another slope, dashing into it, keeping it that way. Getting these really long chains with the Speed Booster is really fun. This room is really awesome. You're gonna see, grab this missile, jump up, Speed Booster out, get back on the slope. Oh, it's beautiful. Very well done. The other thing you're seeing is that you can actually wiggle a little bit with the Shine Spark. You have just a little bit of control while you're Shine Sparking, and it actually makes a big difference in certain rooms. There's a lot of really precise Shine Sparks that being able to adjust it just a little bit will help you get through some areas and not bonk on something. So we'll see Hubert making use of it. Is as limited as it is, it will be useful to us a couple times in the speedrun. And if it is blowing your mind, I totally get it, because it's just so fast. Once you start doing everything, connecting these various tricks together, the way it flows is just really fun to watch. Short detour here for a bunch of items, including the high jump boots. We're going to be picking that up right here. And if you don't know what that does, then you probably don't play many video games. Another E-Tank. We've already got more E-Tanks than the 80% run goes for, actually. So I'm pretty sure Hubert runs 80%. Let me just quick tab over to here. Yeah, he's got 90% time. So at this point, he's already more than comfortable in terms of safety beating this game. So he's pretty well off, and he's only going to get more and more stuff and get more and more powerful. So he's going to be totally fine. Nice little short charge there. Finding... Oh, I think he wanted... No, he did want to land there because he wants to build up another charge heading through this door. We're into this red tower section. It's not often you get to Speed Booster straight through that whole thing the first time you get here in Super Metroid, but here we are. This is Project Base. Get used to it. It's different. It's fast. It's a lot faster. This is where we pick up the traditional vanilla power bombs. right here. 104% is the maximum percentage you can get in this game, assuming there's no weird glitches. Like, I think there might be, the GT code works, then that would let you get more than 104%, but in a standard playthrough of this game, 104% is the maximum. Why it's not 100%, it's because they added 4 missile tanks, and the game just was counting on there being exactly 100 pickups, so each one just adds 1 to the counter, rather than it actually calculating a full percentage of the items collected. So the ROM hack added some missiles, and now 104%. If Donkey Kong Country can do it, why can't this Super Metroid ROM hack? Normally this is where you would do Ocean Fly, and it looks like he's going to get it. The missile moves through. This is not as important a trick in this game because you can actually short charge and build up another Shine Spark pretty easily on the other side of the moat, but it's nice. You can see carving down a path through the wrecked ship here, falling down. That is, there's a couple areas, we saw that big vertical charge up the Red Tower, and here and in a couple other places. They've added just one tile pillar, a column of speed booster blocks for you to Shine Spark all the way through if you know where to look, and of course speedrunners do know where to look for these things. Actually, just totally blowing up that robot. I don't know if that's strictly necessary, but that's what he went ahead and did. Building up that short charge there. I can't remember if this is where he goes up. No, he's going down with it. There's a detour over to the left here. I believe this was an area not in the original game. You're going to see something kind of new in this room here. Missile up at the top. Nice, catching that slope just to refresh the speed booster so that you don't bonk on the wall. And we're into the Phantoon fight. Phantoon is a little different. There is an opportunity for a sort of stun lock here, but it's very difficult. You need to have a very consistent rhythm on your missiles. So we'll see how Hubert is able to do. Of course, he still has different patterns, so we're waiting for him to open that eye. But yeah, doppels aren't really the thing. It's all about consistency rather than stacking a bunch of missiles on top of each other. And this looks like a pretty good Phantoon fight. He didn't quite get the full lockdown, but he had a series of 4 little lockdowns. So in my very much amateur opinion, I think that was a pretty alright Phantoon fight. Hubert building up a charge here, and I think we're going to see a gigantic Shine Spark all the way up the wreck ship here. Yeah, no, oh, never mind. It gets cut off a little bit. My mistake. But that's fine. This is where we want to stop anyway. Don't want to go shooting past all of these pickups, blowing right through these platforms and stuff. Kind of cut the top off of a wall that was in his way. I believe we're heading up here for an E-tank across this little river here. He is shooting downwards with the super missiles to get just enough distance across the moat so that he can save his Shine Spark to Shine Spark back. Nice little time save there. Very fun to watch. And now we're just kind of cleaning up the rest of the wrecked ship. Nice adjustments on the Shine Spark to make sure he doesn't bonk into anything. I think he probably didn't mean to clip that platform, but I never know. Again, I'm sort of filling in as a host here on commentary for Hubert. Backing up here, building up a Shine Spark to get through the door, all the way across the spikes, and we're going bowling. Much faster. A lot of animations and things have been sped up in this game. You know, elevators are very fast. You know, this guy's pretty fast. Lots of just kind of cutting out waiting. I don't know if this was just something that the designers felt was just a better change, you know, just have a faster pace to the game, or if this was something specifically they had in mind because of speedrunning and how they don't want to wait so much. But either way, it does make for a pretty good speedrun. Of course, I think a big draw for people when it comes to speedrunning is the fact that you are playing the original in some cases. You know, this is the Super Metroid I love being played in this way. You know, the things that are kind of bad about it are just one of the challenges that come with running the game, and so that can be a draw for some people. But for a lot of speedrunners, they not a fan of the waiting all over the place. So they're perfectly happy to play something like a ROM hack like this that really catches their attention. I think I'm in this camp. I just want to see what looks cool. Wreck ship complete now for Hubert. Did a full loop around there. Up next, we're going to be going to Meridia, and we're going to be going through the backdoor entrance. A couple of backdoor entrances, actually. But right here, yeah, there's a gate that was supposed to block us here that's just totally gone. So we've walked right through. The gravity suit we picked up after beating Phantoon, of course, helping us move through the water cleanly. Also gives Samus her beautiful purple sheen. It also turns our Shine Spark blue. Very important. Nice Shine Spark charge fall through that whole section. And we're coming up on Dragon pretty close, actually. There's the backdoor entrance into Dragon involves a really weird glitch that I think Hubert almost doesn't fully understand himself, so I don't blame myself too much for not knowing about it. But the idea is to get a certain block off screen, and it will prevent it from hindering us. So he's going to be doing some really weird movements here, trying to get the camera in a certain place. And assuming the block is off correctly, it probably just broke, and he is through here. So you are not supposed to be able to get into the back of the space jump room behind Dragon, but there it is. So we're through. We're into the back of the Dragon fight. Dragon's turning around and being like, "What? Wait, how'd you get? All right, we'll go. We'll start from here. I'm okay. I just woke up." Dragon has to do her hair and her spikes. They were a mess. She's got bed spikes. Dragon fight is pretty similar to Super Metroid. All the bosses are pretty similar. But with the short charges being so accessible in this game, very easy to... maybe not very easy. Definitely not very easy. But a little bit easier to get the Shine Spark kill on Dragon. And that will also let you get the same blue suit. I don't think it's blue here. I think it'd be a little purple, but or something. But you can get the sort of weird glitched state where you have the Shine Spark, and looks like he didn't get it. It's not nearly as helpful in this one because you can see you just get the Shine Spark and go. Really not as useful. Just a little thing you can go for. Gonna be able to reverse over the Coliseum, I believe is the name of that area. Reverse full halfy. I don't think anyone calls it the reverse full halfy when you do it going backwards. Wanted that Shine Spark charge there. Does get it, immediately jumps off the slope. Still has the charge. And is gonna just clip that wall there. Heading towards the plasma beam room. A lot of different ways to approach the enemies in this room. They all need to be defeated in order to get out of here. Gets hit by the French fries a little bit there. Oh, he's out. Never mind. This was a change, I think, to this version that I was unprepared for. But does not need to defeat all the pirates to leave the room, because he has left the room. Still has that charge. What's he doing with it? Here's another sped up animation. Comes out the other side with the charge and is going to use it to get onto that slope, break those rocks. Oh, he fell down. I don't think he's going to have enough time to do what he wants with that charge. He does! He barely does. Shine sparking across this room. The estimate is on the layout. It's going to be about an hour. Just under the category, which is 104%. Not sure what percent we're at right now. Probably about 45, I want to say. There's Ghost Shack Tool. Sorry. We have a way through this muck that normally only Shack Tool is able to dig through, so definitely not going to wait for that whole thing. Mind you, I don't think he had to destroy him. I feel like he probably could have just let Shack Tool be. I feel like on the way back, it definitely wasn't necessary to destroy him with a single shot of your super powerful bounty hunter arm cannon. But that's the kind of heartless person Samus and indeed Hubert is. Bit of a change here to the Meridia structure. The falling sand areas are they have a little more continuity between them. Less screen transitions, and like right here, there's normally I don't think you can even go up through this, but normally it's downwards forced screen transitions falling through falling sand. But this is a little more open and free here, so we're able to go up one side and then down the other to pick up all these items. I don't know why it's called Project Base. That would be a question for the developers, or maybe that information's out there somewhere. But I don't think there's anything, you know, there's no like added area to the map that's like, here's Project Base or anything. There we go, Death Hymn in chat with the knowledge, meant to be used as a base for other hacks. Missing the Botwoon quick kill, but with the X-ray that I didn't notice he already picked up. Good call, me. He's going to be able to do the microwave beam there. Using the X-ray will sort of refresh the collision of the beam with any enemy it's in contact with, and so you get repeated full charge attacks every time you flash the X-ray beam like that. You only need 4, I think, to deal with Botwoon with all the beams, so he really wasn't expecting that, but able to get him on as soon as it came out of the hole on the second cycle there, so was able to clean it up pretty good. Nice little shine spark across that big open room into a 1-tile gap. It is very hard to control with precision when you're doing any sort of shine spark shenanigans. Like the speed is just incredible, and Hubert's making it look very easy. You know, he just always seems to just run around and keep this blue spark, but you need to be shine sparking into a slope in order to keep it. You need to be ducking before you lose your footing in order to build the charge, and at the speed you move in this game, it is so easy to break one of these sequences. And we've seen Hubert drop them here or there, but for the most part, he's actually had very, very good continuity of these shine spark chains. Doing a little glitch through to get into the pipe there. I think that's a glitch. It looked like he had to kind of clip into it a little bit. But yeah, we're in the tradition of going through a weird back door and then leaving through the front door that we had earlier. It's gonna continue to be a thing. 2 items here that you need to be crayed to get. So we've got those now. Speaking of beating crayed, there goes another one of those imposters. Nice job keeping the shine spark there with the space jump. I'm also curious what kind of pace Hubert is on. The video I watched for his current PB was done at a marathon. I forget which and I kind of want to look at it, but I shouldn't look away or I'm going to get lost here. But the commentary in that run and the comment associated with the entry on speedrun.com makes me think that it wasn't the first time he got a PB in a marathon, so I think it's kind of a thing for him. And I'm wondering if he can do it again. His pace seems pretty good. A couple minor mistakes, but I haven't seen anything major. I wouldn't fully trust myself to identify these things, but he does seem to be pretty much on point. I think if he's, even if he doesn't get it, I think he's going to be pretty close. So far, anyway. Still got Lower Norfair. Still got Ridley. That's going to be coming up next. That's where we are now. That's where we got this menacing, thumping, pounding music and this ridiculous statue thing that is maybe supposed to be intimidating, but I think looks kind of dopey and adorable. Having a bit of trouble here. This is definitely, I would call that the first major mistake of the run. Navigating this very annoying Firefly E-tank with the spikes underneath. So having a little bit of trouble, but really that was 8 seconds or something. Detouring here for a missile tank. This missile tank is very far out of the way. There isn't really a clean way to get it. So doing that falling shine spark diagonally upwards to get in here. We're of course heading to the Mickey Mouse room. Haha! I can't do a Mickey Mouse impression, but I had to try. I think that's mandatory. Maybe it shouldn't, because it generally doesn't go well. Anyway, on the way back out, not quite getting the same shine spark diagonally back the other way, so he's gonna have to space jump up here. Not quite getting in there. Falling down now and continuing. Yeah, chat doing a pretty good Mickey Mouse impression. Very much easier, I think, to do in text form. Pretty far along. Actually, I forgot to mention Spring Ball enables a lot of running controls while you are in Morph Ball. So you can actually hold the run button to run in Morph Ball. It also means you can build up a Shine Spark in a Morph Ball, and that is pretty cool. So we just saw that there. Dealing with the gold space pirates can only be shot in certain, while they're facing certain directions or are in certain states, using a Shine Spark there, and the trails that come off of the Shine Spark, which I don't know if you can see on our restream, those will also do a ton of damage and kill the pirates. So Shine Sparking into the ceiling will kind of evaporate that other one. We got Ridley. Classic Ridley. Just gonna pump him full of missiles here. I don't know if he still has the same super missile weakness that he does in the original game. I would wager that he does. Retro Razors was the name of that marathon, where Hubert was able to get a new PB. Let's see if he's able to do it again. He's holding on to a certain amount of ammo here. I feel like he would have burned those supers in that fight if he had them to use on that fight. So I feel like there is some sort of consideration being made ammo-wise. We're going to pick up the screw attack. No, we're not. Yes, we are going to pick up the screw attack. We passed by an E-tank. I think we're going to loop around and get that. That was Golden Teresa. We're going to come back. We're just going to dip into the attic here for a little bit. Pick up that item. Golden Teresa is a much harder fight in this game. There's no positional cheese you can do to just kind of sit right in front of him. So you got to fight him a little honestly, which is very chaotic. You can see really just tanking through this fight. It's really not elegant or particularly clever or anything. You just make sure that you're charging your shots and landing them, and you'll come out on top in that fight as fast as you can. Jumping over the refill there, doesn't need it. Again, Hubert is very comfortable beating this game with just 2 energy tanks, so the 3 he has there is plenty. Plus he knows he's going to double back and pick up this energy tank for the refill, getting the Shine Spark. And this would be a very precise Shine Spark, but with the wiggle that you have it actually does make it a little easier. So able to get that really cool Shine Spark all the way across that section. You've still kind of chained it all the way into this room, picking up a lot of goodies. I believe this is where you typically get the grapple beam. And I think it's the grapple beam in this game. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. There it is. Having a little bit of trouble getting Samus's hitbox to touch the pickup and not the hands on the statue, but he does grapple the grapple beam and pick it up. I don't think we're ever going to see it. I don't think he's ever going to use it. And I have no idea how it behaves in this game compared to the original Super Metroid. But it is required to be picked up for the 104%, so here we are. Fun little up and down roller coaster section here, speed boostering through these blocks. Very fun. Into Crocomire. Look out. Here comes Crocomire. Okay, he's got the shot. He's very precise manipulation here. Back forward speed over. Actually, no. Crocomire's already dead. The second shot already killed him, and you're just waiting at that point. And look at he struggles. He tries, you know? So we gotta give him credit for that. We need to wait out that death animation. We are seeing, I think, starting to suspect Hubert might be listening to the commentary because he's showing off the grapple beam and now making me a little more self-conscious. Sometimes when I commentate for someone's run, I secretly hope that they never watch it. And so that if I do a bad job, then they won't know. But showing off the grappling beam there for us is Hubert. Thank you so much for that. Crocomire required to be defeated for that E-Tank there, and I think that's it actually. So the poor guy, if he had just moved it up front, he might have been able to live down here in peace, but in the name of this 104 number, everything must die. That's just how Samus rolls. We're back into the area near Kraid. Why can I not remember? It's like a part of Brinstar, I think. Brinstar is very big. There's a lot. There's a blue Brinstar, red Brinstar, pink Brinstar. This is red Brinstar, I think. There's that big Shine Spark all the way up through the tower. And now we're into blue Brinstar. We're, ready to beat the game. We just need all the items. So this is a total cleanup at this point. Just sweeping through the game, picking up everything that, in places we haven't been, and cleaning up the places that we already have been, where we would have to just spend a lot of time to collect the items without all the stuff we have now. Now we've got the speed boost, the high jump, super missiles, power bomb, space jump, screw attack, a lot of things that just make getting around easier. So in a lot of cases, it's better to wait and pick up all these items once you've got all these goodies. I think particularly Speed Booster is the main reason why this stuff gets left behind. 104% is all the items. They add up to 104 in this game rather than 100 because they added some items. And the way Super Metroid works is it just counts. It's not doing this many items out of this many total items. It's just adding one every time you pick up. In the original game, there just happened to be exactly 100 things that it adds. And so it's sort of a consequence of adding more stuff in this ROM hack, Super Metroid Project Base. Is the run? Hubert is the runner. I'm Mythical 9, I'm filling in on commentary. We're here in Pink Brinstar. Lots of Shine Sparks to get in and out of that missile expansion. No, it might have been an E-Tank. Whatever it was. It was one of the things we need only to satisfy the category completion. Not actually required or needed for us to do a little better. There's a gate missing up top there. You would be able to green gate glitch through it if necessary. I can't remember if it's green. It might just be blue, actually, and all you need is the wave beam, which we have. But the gate's just totally gone. In the interest of a more open world, a lot of little barriers like those gates are gone. Pink Brinstar cleanup continues. Getting through this section here. Picking up some power bombs. pretty precise to get that Shine Spark between all those platforms. Not quite holding on to the charge there, but I don't think he's interested in having one at that point. Anyway, he does have one here, carrying it all the way through the keys, like key hunters. I mean, flying guys with the claws. And we're fighting Spore Spawn. We fought Spore Spawn. See ya. He's done. Setting up a moonfall through here. Really fast downward speed. The graphics totally glitching out, I think, I want to say. Also, I'm pretty sure Spore Spawn was unnecessary there. I want to say could be a version change. My apologies if that's the case, but you don't usually get to see a lot of Spore Spawn when it comes to Super Metroid. We did see the Spore Spawn category run earlier as filler in the marathon, and that's always fun. Because every category, even the 100% category in Super Metroid, skips Spore Spawn, because there's just a way to get around it. They did create a 6-minute category where all you do is run there and kill him, just because he deserves his time, gosh darn it. Nice Shine Sparking over the troublesome little enemies, but keeping the spark on the landing to get up through there. Hubert's movement is looking really good. We're pretty close to that 104%, assuming Hubert hasn't forgotten anything. If I was a more knowledgeable commentator at this point, I might be able to say, I could confirm for him whether he's gotten all the pickups. But nope, sorry. I'm filling in, so I'm going to be relying on that final tally as much as Hubert is for the confirmation that he has indeed gotten all the items. We're pretty close. I believe the item roundup ends at the gauntlet. A series of I was not quite so challenging rooms, but there's some breakable pillars and some lava, and it makes for, I think it earns the name Gauntlet a little bit. It's probably not the hardest thing to do in a speedrun. There are some strats actually, like the soft poops strat that we actually saw in an earlier run in the marathon. That is some really technical stuff that you can do in that room, and in that case it surely is a gauntlet. But it's not going to be so bad here. Getting the Shine Spark and the laser a little too low. I think he didn't want to clip that. I think he did want to continue all the way through to the door. But yeah, just building up that short charge and you're through. Continuing it immediately after picking up the missile, however, is not so easy. So well done there. Don't have to worry about the positioning on the double crumble blocks on this fall here. So I think that was the last item. I think we're good. And yeah, you did hear me. I wouldn't normally use it, but that's what they call it, so I'm gonna call it what they call it. I don't know who comes up with these ridiculous names. Some of the names are pretty good. There's a section that connects wrecked ship and Meridia that you never take in any of the speedruns, so they call it the Forgotten Highway. That's pretty good. But yeah, no, they went for the poop joke on the other one. So here's our golden 4. All 4 bosses required to trigger this cutscene. I don't know why the bosses being dead or not has anything to do with this statue. I don't know what this statue has to do with these blocks that crumble and let us through. It's just a little bit of Zebus mysticism. But whatever, we're here. We're in Turian. Final section of the game. See how he deals with these Super Metroids. Very, very good. They're not the Super Metroids. They're just regular Metroids. He does get latched onto. You can sort of shake them loose in this game. So that is a nice thing to fall back on, if that happens. But landing your shots here with the ice and the supers is really not simple. Rapid weapon selection is required to switch between beam. You know, it's beam 2 toggles to get to supers, then triple toggle to get back to beam. The baby skip. Oh man, he gets it. Very important. I mean, I guess it is important. You do save a lot of time skipping that cutscene, but it is much easier in this version. You just blow right past it, and you don't have to do the ridiculous loop-de-loops that you see in the original game. Moving on to the Mother Brain fight. We're already here. A little bit of a Zebetite skip there, getting the frozen onion ring right next to it, and taking a hit to get the invincibility frames will get you through there. I think there's probably a couple different ways you can get through there. You know, traditionally it's either the ice or the speed booster. You can do a shine spark or an ice, but I think there's a third option you can do specifically in Project Base that I have no chance of being able to tell you about. Moving on to the Mother Brain fight, phase 1 done very quickly. Hubert taking a bunch of damage on purpose, because of course the way this fight works is after a certain amount of damage here in phase 2, Mother Brain's going to hit you with that crazy rainbow beam, and she's not going to stop until you're drained of energy, so you want to be low energy to speed that up. You also want to set up the stand-up glitch, so he's going to get a little bit lower here. I think under 300, or under 400, I guess, total, is where you want to be to set up the stand-up. He's going to, any second now, stand up, I hope. I feel like he should already be jumping, so I think he might have missed it. Yeah, pretty sure he did. So that would enable you to move during this cutscene. Maybe it's not possible in this version, actually, now that I think about it, but normally you would be able to, you know, in the regular game and in other versions at least, potentially this version, you can still move here, and you can land shots on Mother Brain with your regular beam during this section. And you can actually get enough damage on Mother Brain that you actually do all the damage for the third phase as soon as it starts. But we're going to have to deploy the murder beam. It's not the murder beam, that's a different thing, but the hyper beam at the end here to actually fight this third phase as intended, due to missing that skip. It's not super hard to get it, if I recall. So might be a little disappointed with that one. Hubert's PB 49:14. So we'll keep an eye on the timer. Definitely seeing some weird graphical stuff going on. No missed shots on Mother Brain there. Very well executed, phase 3. If you gotta execute on it, because we missed the stand-up glitch, you would at least want to do it as well as Hubert just did. Getting hung up on some of these walls here during the escape, but we are into the escape. This is the final sequence of the game. Also, I'm not sure how version differences work with this game and runs of this game, so Hubert's PB on a different version, I don't know how this one will compare, but I'm sure he'll tell you in chat, because he seems pretty active in the chat for this run. Getting the Moonfall here? Yes, he does. Still has the charge. Shine Spark back up. That's possible, I believe, in the original game, but I think it's a much tighter window than it is in this one, but it's still not easy. Another Shine Spark here, going with a diagonal on the right side. And I happen to know Hubert's not a fan of animals. There's some save kill, very famous in the speedrun community, whether or not you detour to save the animals. Having a bit of trouble with that short charge, but he does get it. I'm not sure if that ended up saving time compared to just going. I think maybe not, but speaking of just going, he's going to go right past those animals. 48:17 going to be the final time here for Super Metroid Project Base. Congrats to Hubert. The graphical glitch we saw in the Mother Brain fight was due to an early Shine Spark, but Hubert says to ignore the spaghetti. I barely saw any. If I went to a restaurant and that was all the spaghetti I got served, I'd be upset. I'd be hungry. You know what I mean? That was pretty good. That was a pretty good run from Hubert. How are we doing on the schedule? It's 9 o'clock, which means we're 10 minutes late for Super Smash TV. So I'm going to check and see how the next run is doing. Because we do, you wait for the credits and the Deer Force and the 104%. But in the interest of the marathon, we might want to keep moving, so hold on. Even if we do have to cut it before we see the Deer Force and everything, Hubert's in chat, so he can just post whether or not he gets it. He could lie, of course, but we'll trust him. Though we're pretty close here to the score tally due to the credits going by a little faster than normal. I think. Seems that way to me. Maybe not. Getting some links. From Hubert in the Discord. That are somewhere you can find the game, I think. I don't know. A ROM hack's okay to spread in a Twitch chat? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what sort of directly linking to a ROM site makes me nervous, even if it was a sort of original thing. I mean, it also is not fully original. Obviously, we're using a lot of assets. Let's just say, if you Google Super Metroid Project Base, you'll probably find your way to a place where you could play this game and check it out. Shoutouts to George Sinfield and the rest of the crew. It's already linked. Deer Force. And Team Shikamaru. No love for Team Shikamaru. Everyone's always focused on the Deer Force. What's Deer Force? Why is it Deer Force? Team Shikamaru put in the same work day in, day out. Alright, here comes the score tally. Did we forget anything? Rate for collecting items is indeed 104%. That's gonna do it. Super Metroid Project Base 104%. Everyone asking why 104? Right here on the screen. Great run by Hubert. Hubert has a bunch of numbers on the end of his name. So look, links in the chat if you want to give Hubert a follow. I'm Mythical9. And we're out. We're a little bit late for Smash TV. It's going to be coming up next, so stay tuned.